Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you an individual stock pick in NVIDIA Corporation, symbol NVDA. I did record this video, by the way, on Tuesday, November 16th, 2022. We can take a quick look at the basic fundamentals courtesy of Yahoo Finance. Certainly a large cap stock, very well day traded stock, NVIDIA, very popular. And this is the weekly chart. I'll be showing you a weekly chart throughout. This weekly chart goes back to 2015. And you can actually see how in October we fell. The low was actually placed at a former long-term channel top that we pushed through following the March COVID low. And that was a meaningful sign of strength into later part of 2020. You know, at the time, not necessarily anticipating that hyperbolic rally, but that's obviously what has played out. So that channel top is at 106.71. I'll show that in a moment. It's at 106.71 this week, rising gradually. And if tested over the next month, 2 or 3, and it may be, and I'll show that as well, able to contain at least quarterly selling pressures, possibly selling pressures through 2023, if tested over the next month, 2 or 3. Let's zoom in here, and I'll show that channel bottom. You know, we actually came very close to testing it at 108.13 was the October low. That channel bottom is at 106.71 this week and rising gradually. And so there's a couple of things here. You know, we have tested meaningful resistance this week already. This is a descending 1/3 speed line. I'm not going to get into the exact construction of it. You may actually be quite familiar, but you take the high, the all-time high, 346.47 against that low of 108.13, 1/3 of the way back up, 33% exactly. That trend line is projected off the high, that 346.47 high, and it intersects in the time frame of the 108.13 low at the 1/3 pullback mark. And so it is a trend-defining instrument long-term. It represents a price ceiling that can contain buying through the rest of the year and into the first quarter. And from here, we can fall off back to the 106.71 channel top. It's actually, I don't show it here, but we came very close to testing it in October. I mean, like within a hair. There's also a descending channel top right now at 172.40. And that's dropping at 355 a week. In fact, I'm giving you the rate at which these two key trend-defining line studies are dropping on a week-by-week basis. The descending 1/3 speed line at 170.22 is dropping 346 a week. And the descending channel top at 172.40 is dropping 355 a week. And you can determine the exact location of these trend-defining levels, this ceiling of resistance through the rest of the year and into the first quarter for yourself, all the way through the rest of the year. And this is an important price ceiling that can contain buying over that into the Q1 and below which over the next month, 2 or 3 at the very most, I would say, we can fall back to that base of support that is presently at 106.71. That former channel top is rising 15 cents a week. And so a couple things I want to say. One thing I want to say about this resistance in the low 170s is that it also correlates quite well right now with key long-term resistance in the Triple Q and NASDAQ 100. And so I do actually a daily Triple Q report, and I do a daily SPY report, and I do a weekly NASDAQ 100 index analysis and a weekly S&P 500 index analysis. And that's all part of our premium subscription package on wickedstocks.com. So, you know, and I'll also say, while I'm talking about wickedstocks.com, and thank you for listening, is that I put out 2 individual stock picks just like this every single week, 8 a month. Been doing it for 2 years, and that's probably a couple hundred by now. Let's see, yeah. Couple of hundred videos, individual stock pick videos over the last 2 years of wickedstocks.com since we started that you never see on YouTube. So you get 2 stock picks, daily SPY report, daily Triple Q report, weekly S&P 500, weekly NASDAQ 100, and weekly TLT, the U.S. Treasury ETF Index or ETF, all for $47 a month. So consider that. If you go to wickedstocks.com and subscribe, we offer a 5-day free trial. No questions asked. If you don't like it after 5 days, you can bail. We'll refund you in full. Otherwise, it's $47 a month and you can cancel at any time. So just want to put that out there. Low 170s resistance, 170.22 to 172.40, able to contain buying through the rest of the year. And below which, the point I'm making here is we are susceptible and can quite easily fall back to 106.71 over the next 1 to 3 months, where we could bottom out through Q1. We could fill this wedge out for the next several months, well into Q1. But if we were to close above the 172.40 channel top, which would obviously also clear the descending 1/3 speed line, and then I've got a descending 2/3 speed line at 258.21. So if we close above 172.40 this week, or that formation over the next few weeks, for instance, dropping 355 a week, then I've got 258.21 dropping 173 a week. That is a descending 2/3 speed line. So with regard to speed line analysis, when you settle above a descending 1/3 speed line, your target becomes the descending 2/3 speed line. I would give this a 2 to 3 month time horizon. This is about a 30% move. Actually, it's more than a 30% move at this point in time. But keep in mind that trend, the speed line at 258.21 is dropping. So I think I can rough it out and say approximately a 30% gain. There's a couple things you could do here. You could just buy NVIDIA and hold it into Q1, anticipating that 258.21 speed line. You could buy 240, 250 out of the money calls that don't expire for at least, I would go 6 months out, even though I don't think it's going to take that long. I'm thinking 2 to 3 months, but you don't want to buy a 250 out of the money call that expires, say, in January, 3 months from now. You could be entirely correct on the move if we settle above 172.40 and see not a whole lot of return, as you've got theta, time decay, that accelerates as you approach that January expiration. So I would go out beyond January if you were to get this buy signal. The flip side is you could also buy 105 or 110 out of the money puts right now. As long as we're holding below the low 170s, the 110 out of the money puts that don't expire for at least, I would go at least 3 months out, maybe 5 months out. So go at least January, maybe March of 23 on those 105, 110 out of the money puts. Because I think that they are in reach over the next 2 to 3 months, holding below the low 170s. So this is a nice pivot point area. And once again, the triple Q is in the 294 handle. We'll probably insert that here in the editing, post-editing, to show you that the triple Q is testing a very significant resistance area itself, and below which the triple Q is susceptible to not only falling back into the upper 250s over the next 3 to 5 weeks, but even putting out a new move low, because the bear market remains in effect in the triple Q, following that November high of last year below the 294 and change area, which we'll show here. And if we can close in the triple Q above that 294 and change area, then we've got a buy signal in the triple Q that should play out over the next 3 to 5 months. And that is lining up very nicely right now with what we're seeing in NVIDIA. So I'm going to leave it at this. Closing above 172.40 this week. Signals 258.21 or that speed line over the next 3 to 5 months at the very most. Holding below the low 170s will keep that 106.71 channel top in reach over the next 2 to 3 months. And we'll leave it at that. Thanks for listening. Please click like each and every time you watch a YouTube video analysis by wickedstocks.com. We're also doing daily Tesla and daily Apple analysis on YouTube. So stay tuned. We'll talk soon.